Hello, everyone. My name is Rei Hotoda, and I'm so excited about this new series with the Fresno Philharmonic that we are starting called the Green Room Series. It's an intimate look and interview with our fabulous musicians of the Fresno Philharmonic. And for our first interview, I'd like to welcome Stephanie Sant'Ambrogio, our concertmaster. Hi, Stephanie.
Hey Ray, how are you?
Good. I'm so glad you could do this interview with us. Now, we are starting this Green Room series because all of our musicians are really not able to perform right now. And I just wanted to, have our audiences get to know all of you a little bit better during this time where we're not able to perform. So, how are you doing and what are you doing?
I'm doing well. I have to say, my husband and I bought a house recently, and we're moving or have moved, and so that's been a really nice distraction from the chaos of the world's news. So I've had a lot more time to practice and learn repertoire for next season, and I've been doing a lot of online video content. So I've been pretty busy actually.
That's fantastic. And where are you right now?
Well, I live in Reno, Nevada, and I just moved to a smaller house. My husband and I decided to downsize because our daughters are now in college. But we also wanted to do some updating and renovation of the house, which the GC told us would take 6 weeks. But of course, it'll be closer to 8 weeks, I guess. So we are living right now in our guest bedroom, guest bathroom, and the garage.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So our kitchen is in the garage right now. We have a utility sink, microwave, crock pot, electric skillet, that kind of thing. But we'll be doing that for about 4 to 5 weeks.
Oh my gosh. So you are really, really busy.
Pretty busy.
With other projects. And so I wanted to have our audiences get to know what we do backstage, a little bit more, because we don't really talk about that. We're often on Soroyan stage and we do our, music, we make music together, but we also have like a little, community backstage that people aren't often, in privy of the things that happen backstage. So you have your own dressing room backstage, as do I. And what are you doing as are you warming up? Tell us a little bit about your routine before the concerts.
Well, I was going to say during the rehearsal times, during those breaks, I'm usually not taking a break because I'm usually trying to coordinate bowings with the other string section principals, or if there was something wasn't quite together with the woodwinds, I might ask them about something. So I'm usually kind of working during the breaks. But and then during the intermission breaks, I usually go talk to you to see if there was ever anything you wanted differently, and see if there's anything I need to know about the second half, and talk to my colleagues, just, hang out a little bit. But I usually try to stay warmed up, so that when I go out there, I feel very on top of my game.
Right. And then when you and I are backstage right before the concert starts, most of the orchestra have been seated, correct? And you and I are waiting because you tune the orchestra as you walk out, and then I, start the concert with the first downbeat. But sometimes I feel like, when we're waiting backstage for everyone to settle down, you and I often like talk about other things. We don't talk about the performance, really. Yeah.
Right, right,
Yeah.
exactly.
And the more, sometimes we joke around, right? I mean, it's very informal, but we're about to step on stage and do this like Rachmaninoff Symphony No. 2, or when we did the Beethoven Triple in January, you were one of our soloists, as was Julie Albers. Can you tell us a little bit about that moment before we played the Beethoven Triple?
Well, that was a really fun moment, I have to say, because I had never played that piece with two other women. And so it was so much fun having three women in our gorgeous dresses. Is like female power, I like that. And so that was a lot of fun, I have to say.
Yes. And were you nervous before that performance?
I was excited. I wasn't so nervous because I had played the piece many times before. But I mean, I hadn't we'd only rehearsed with the cellist that one time, right, with Julie, because she came in late. Not late, but she came in when a soloist usually does, and so we only had that one rehearsal and then the dress rehearsal. So that was a little, kind of excited, nervous, but I was confident because rehearsals had gone well, and our rehearsals, just the three of us without the orchestra, had gone well, and all the preparation I thought had been done. So I was just really excited to walk out there with two gorgeous women and play Beethoven. It was a real trip, real
Yes.
fun. Highlight of my year, I think.
Oh, me too. Me too. It was so exciting because I played and conducted, but to play chamber music like that with you and Julie's amazing, amazing musicians and chamber musicians was such an honor for me. So thank you for doing that. Really.
It was my pleasure. My pleasure.
But oftentimes you are the concertmaster, not having, really big solos sometimes in the symphonic works. What is your take on, because you are my right woman, not my right hand man, but you are my right hand woman. And you are basically leading the orchestra from the orchestra. And can you tell us a little bit about being a concertmaster?
Well, I think my job is, first of all, to make the orchestra and the orchestra sound as good as it can sound, and to make the conductor look as good as possible. Also, I think that's my job. And it's sort of like, you are the chef and I'm the person who's chopping the vegetables and preparing them for you. And I love that role, just like in chamber music. I love to play first violin, and I love to give good second violin, is what we say. So that sort of portive role. And I like to try to anticipate what the conductor, whoever's on the podium, I like to try to anticipate what he or she wants from the orchestra. So it's so much more fun to play in the inner circle, the first stand of the string players, more fun than sitting in the back, because when I first joined, my professional orchestra career started in the Cleveland Orchestra, and I was in the back of the second violins. And I remember people in the front were always saying that we in the back were playing too loud, and the sound was coming off of the wall, and we were playing too loud, and we were not playing too loud. And then I got moved up to the front on the first stand of the second violins, and I realized these guys were playing much louder than we had been playing in the back. But it's more fun to be in the front, that's for sure.
Great. Well, so during this time, what are your thoughts about the future of performance, for you, and just the future of music right now and live
Well,
performances?
yeah, this is a really turbulent, rocky time, but all storms end, and I know it will. And I think that all art forms, whether it's theater, dance, art, visual arts, and music, they all thrive, and they really do better with live audiences. So
Great.
we as musicians are just so eager to get back on stage, whatever it takes, to keep playing for our audiences, because I can practice for 4 hours at home, but it's just not the same. I have to have, an audience, just like that thing about, if a tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound? you know and I mean, if I'm playing my music, am I really making music if there's no one to receive it? Maybe not. So I'm really eager. I know it's just going to be a matter of time. We don't know the future. We don't know if we'll be able to start again in the fall, the way a lot of orchestras and series are starting to do. But it may take more than a year. I don't know, but we will be back. That is for sure. And live music is the best.
It is. It is. I miss it. I miss conducting the orchestra so, so much. And sharing it with our community and the audience is what makes it so special. So what has kept you through this unprecedented time? What are the things that have kept you going?
Well, I have to say, some of the things that I already have been doing not my whole life, but in the last decade, meditation and yoga and practicing the violin. those things have really kept me going. I have a music festival, in Texas that I started 24 years ago. And although we had to cancel our season, just like Fresno Phil had to cancel its spring concerts, we had to cancel our summer festival. But my husband and I, my husband's a graphic designer, we have been creating a lot of online content. And most specifically, tomorrow, Thursday, July 9, begins our virtual festival. So we have 8 events over the course of the 2 weeks: Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And each day, a new event is posted at 3 p.m. our time. And then, so it's archival concerts mixed in with master classes that are not really master classes in the musical sense where you listen to a student and help them, play better. These are master classes more like TED Talks. And
Oh.
so the first master class, which is Friday, July 10, I'm excited about. And if anybody wants to listen, they can go to CPMF. So it's Cactus Pear Music Festival, cpmf.us. My first master class is called If She'd Only Had the Vote, Women Composers Throughout Her Story. And I learned a tremendous amount by doing the research for this masterclass, because I knew of some female composers, but I didn't know very many. And I didn't know why there weren't more female composers. And through my research, I realized the 3 reasons why there have not been very many female composers until the 20th century. So it's fascinating. And I highlight about 12 different female composers that some of whom you may not have heard of. So,
Can you share a couple of those composers' names?
yeah, well, the first composer that I mentioned that I hadn't heard of really before is Francesca Caccini. And she's from the 16th century. And she was prolific composer, incredibly talented. And at one point, she was the highest paid musician in the Medici court, in the Florentine court. And I thought that was pretty cool. And then there are a lot of even 20th century composers, British women composers who I had not heard of, who wrote great repertoire, especially for violin. So I'm going to learn some of these works, like Edith McConkie, who's British. She wrote some fantastic violin piano repertoire. So I've already ordered. Oh, and Ethel Smythe is another one who you may have heard of.
Yeah.
She wrote a great sonata that I'm going to play next season.
Great. Well, anything else you'd like to share with our community and the community at large during this time?
Just that we miss you. We miss you, and please know that the Fresno Philharmonic Orchestra still needs your financial support as well as your good wishes, because there's all this stuff happening behind the scenes and we have to keep paying the staff. Otherwise, we will just shrivel up and die, and we don't want to do that. So please continue to support the Fresno Phil, because we could not do what we do without you.
Great. Thank you so much, Stephanie. It's great to see you. And thank you for doing this interview. And thank you to all who've been watching. Thanks. Until next time. Bye.